What's up, everybody? How you doing tonight? Behind enemy lines. This is Jake. I'm sure as many of you know. So as you can see, Grandpa Biden in the house again, making some more executive changes. And boy, is he really just overstepping his bounds now, huh? He's really getting there. He's really getting there. Hey, this is the kind of stuff I warned about. But before I get started, let's see. Let's see who we got in here. What's up, Honeybee on D Live? John Doe on YouTube. Gary Two Tone, one of the mods on YouTube. Thank you. What's up, fuck YouTube? Hey, thanks for coming and helping me the other day, by the way. I didn't even know that was you. What's up, Janine? How you doing tonight? What's up, Menundo? Machine, how you doing? What's up, Newsome on D Live? One of the mods over there. What's up, Ash on YouTube? How's everybody doing? Okay, so Biden spoke today, and something very rare happened. Something very, very rare. Very, very rare. So he actually was coherent. He was actually coherent. He actually got through an entire speech without gaffing himself. He actually got through an entire speech without fumbling over his words, which is very, very interesting. So I think I'm going to start off with that. I think it's one of the, probably going to be the most important part of tonight. Then I'm going to go over some world things that I noticed are going on. Me and some of the mods notice. So I want to go over that. Yeah, so there's, you got the Russian-Ukraine conflict. We got Chinese and Taiwan conflict. I just kind of want to bring it to everybody's attention. And then also something that nobody's really talking about anymore, Myanmar. So very obscure things happening around the world while we have a president that isn't holding anyone accountable. So make no mistake, it is not a coincidence that the Chinese and the Russians are great adversaries of the world, are making big plays. And there's a lot of things that I don't even think even people that are staying up to date on it even know. So I'm going to go over that, read some articles, we'll play some videos. And then I'm trying to get this video pulled up that someone sent me just a couple minutes ago on Instagram, but for some reason it's not letting me log into my Instagram, so I'll kind of close with that. But yeah, so here's Biden, 60 some odd days into his presidency, or no, it's more than that now. We're let's see, 68 days, 69 days in his presidency, and he signed 2 more executive orders, and he's basically threatening a memorandum on most of our gun rights. He kind of bounces around it and words it a little weird, but ultimately he wants to bring in red flag laws federally. He wants to remove arm braces, aka stocks on pistols. He wants to ban the loopholes for ghost guns, which I don't even think is a real thing. And then he also something very interesting about his speech today, and it's something notable that most Democrats don't do, and it's what we can't talk about gun reform or gun laws or anything until you acknowledge that there's a presence of illegal weapons on the street. And not one time, I'll be quite frank with you. I am failing to see any one of these politicians talk about, not just Joe Biden, I don't want to single him out, but talk about the illegal guns on the streets. And another thing that's notable, there's a mass shooting over in California, and you got a mass shooting in Nevada, and a mass shooting in Texas, and today we had another one in Texas, mass shooting. You have all these mass shootings, and nobody's talking about Chicago. Nobody's talking about Chicago. Nobody's talking about it. And I really don't understand why nobody talks about Chicago. They have some of the strictest gun laws in the country. Not the strictest, but some of the strictest. I think the strictest is probably, New Jersey, Massachusetts, these kinds of states obviously probably have a little more tighter gun laws. But some of the most constricted gun laws in the country, yet they have the highest gun crime, and gun violence. Another notable thing, which I find very interesting, is he brings up that gun violence is the reason why people of color, black people in specific, are dying he says other races, but dying in what does he say? It's epidemic proportions. No, they're not. And here's the other thing. If you look at the numbers of why those colored people and black people, and specifically black Americans, are being killed by other black Americans, this is statistically, it's unarguable. I've gone down this rabbit hole thousands of times with many, many different liberals and Antifa and leftist people. The black communities are killing themselves and they don't want to talk about it. Okay. That's an over exaggeration, but that's the truth of the matter. I mean, these communities are killing each other. Okay. And nobody's talking about it. Now, they want to say how, gun violence is killing black Americans, but they don't want to talk about how and the numbers. So I find it very interesting. But anyways, he got on camera today. I'll give him credit where it's due. He had a full interview where he didn't stumble on his words. He didn't, he didn't say anything racist. And yeah, he didn't stumble on his words. He didn't say anything racist, and he didn't forget what he was saying. So I'll give him that credit. That's about all I can get out of it. Okay. So, what's up, Sonic Boy? How you doing? What's up, Ryan? Ryan in the house? Is Ryan in here? Ryan? No, not yet. He'll linger in. What's up, Nicole? Indigo Nicole? Roxanne, how you doing? Good evening. What's up, Pat? I love Gary Two-Tone. I already said hello, but hello again. America First Patriot Amber. Oh, he did. You're right. Amber's right. He did call the ATF AFT. He did have a slip up. That is my fault. He did. What's up, Spawny? Thanks for modding tonight. Christina Murphy says, hey, Jake, can you please look into why I'm blocked on Twitter? I've never posted anything, so it's not that. It says, beggars, we don't have any friends in common. I'll look it up. What is your name, Christina, on Twitter? And I'll look it up. Usually I don't ban people for no reason. What's up, Ara? Yeah, I mean, LA, California, yeah. You're right. I mean, they definitely have high gun violence. You're right. What's up, Dwayne? No narrative in Chicago. You're right. What's up, David? Wilzo, welcome back. Sloan, welcome back. Pamela, how are you doing? Indigo, thank you for modding over there. Appreciate it. All the mods. Okay, so by the way, to all you little Antifa fucks that want to try and get me banned, it's not gonna happen. Because this isn't copyrighted. This is from the White House. The government is free source information. They allow this to anybody. It's not copyrighted. So I don't even need to put up fair use. But with that, this was his speech today. Kamala blessed us with her presence. And I'm sorry. There's no way I'm going to be able to make it through all this without speaking. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to talk. Because I think this is ridiculous. I think that this man right here is a phony. He's a fool. I thought for a second there was like a wheelchair in the background, but it's cameras. So yeah, I'm going to try and get through it as much as I get. I like how it has more down thumbs than it does likes. Let's give it another one. Another down thumb. Sub up. Down thumb. All right, let's get started here. At the end on DLive, I'll shut the X tag off. If anyone wants to donate at the end, that will be the time. So make sure you stick around if you want to give up a couple lemons, but I can't do it while we're playing news. So gonna have to wait till the end. Stick with us, and we got a good show tonight. So let's get it.
Good morning.
Kamala.
Over the course of
Kamala.
my career,
Camel toe.
I have
mean,
seen
what?
gun
Kamala?
violence up close. I've looked at autopsy photographs. I've seen with my own 2 eyes what a bullet can do to the human body. I've held hands with the hands of parents who have lost a child. I have seen children who were traumatized by the loss of a parent or sibling. And I have fought my entire career to end this violence and to pass reasonable gun safety laws. Time and again, as progress has stalled, we've all asked, what are we waiting for? Because we aren't waiting for a tragedy, I know that. We've had more tragedy than we can bear. We aren't waiting for solutions either, because the solutions exist. They already exist. People on both sides of the aisle want action. Real people on both sides of the aisle want action. So all that is left is the will and the courage to act. And President Joe Biden has the will and the courage to act.
Why is it so quiet?
As a United States Senator, Joe Biden took on the gun lobby not once but twice, and he won.
Welcome in, Primetime. How you doing, buddy?
In 1993, he worked to pass the Brady Handgun Violation Prevention Act. This law established a background check system and has kept more than 3 million firearms out of the hands of dangerous people. A year later, he worked to pass another law to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines for 10 years. And as Vice President, Joe Biden led the Obama-Biden administration's efforts to reduce gun violence. In fact, we were just reminiscing that he and I talked back then about his work because I was Attorney General at the time of California. And his work resulted in nearly 24 actions, from narrowing the gun show loophole to expanding funding for mental health services. And as you will hear in a moment, President Joe Biden is a leader with great will, great determination, and even greater empathy. He has seen the grief of all of those who have lost a loved one to gun violence. It is for them, for all of us, that he will never, ever give up on this fight. And it is now my great honor to introduce the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
What's up, Tanoa? How you doing, buddy? Skyviews, welcome in. John Doe, welcome in. Purple Potato, welcome in.
Thank you, Kamala, Madam Vice President. Thank you very much. You know, we're joined today by the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, who I've asked to prioritize gun violence. It's also good to see the second gentleman who is here.
What's up, Mara? How you
it's
doing?
good to see the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, who cares deeply about this issue as well. And I look out there and I see so many members of Congress who've led in this fight, so many of you who've never given up, so many of you are absolutely determined, as Murph and others are, to get this done. We got a long way to go. It seems like we always have a long way to go. But I also, today, we're taking steps to confront not just the gun crisis, but what is actually a public health crisis. Nothing I'm about to recommend in any way impinges on the Second Amendment. They're phony arguments suggesting that these are Second Amendment rights at stake from what we're talking about. But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. You can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater. We call it freedom of speech. From the very beginning, you couldn't own any weapon you wanted to own.
Hey, Christina, I looked it up. I couldn't find you on the block list. Make sure you have the right account. There's also Behind Enema Lies, the Antifa Twitter account. So make sure that you have at behind enemy 360, and I'll say it again, at behind enemy 360. Make sure you have the right one. You might be on that Antifa Twitter page.
From the very beginning of the Second Amendment existed, certain people weren't allowed to have weapons. So the idea is just bizarre to suggest that some of the things we're recommending are contrary to the Constitution. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic. Let me say it again. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic.
Sounds like it sounds like COVID-19. Listen, this has a lot of similarities between COVID-19.
And it's an international embarrassment. You know, we saw it again last night as I was coming to the Oval Office. I got the word that in South Carolina, a physician with his wife, 2 grandchildren, and a person working at his house was gunned down, all 5. So many people, so many of the people sitting here today know that well, unfortunately. You know, they know what it's like when the seconds change your life forever. I've had the pleasure of getting to meet an awful
he almost slipped
circumstances.
up there. He almost did it. Almost.
Many of you who've lost your children, your husbands, your wives, you know, they know what it's like to bury a piece of their soul deep in the earth. We understand that. Mark and Jackie, I want to tell you, it's always good to see you, but not under these circumstances. I want to say before I introduce the rest of the folks, is, you know, what a lot of people have not been through, what they've been through, don't understand. It takes a lot of courage to come to an event like this. They're absolutely determined to make change. But Mark and Jackie, whose son Daniel was a first grader in Sandy Hook Elementary School, or Daniel loves sports, loves outdoor sports, getting muddy.
He's
I see
pandering.
my friend Fred Gutenberg. His
What's
daughter,
up, Coffee?
Jamie, was a freshman at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. She was an accomplished dancer. I see Brandon Wolf.
What's up, David?
Who, the
Jose?
shooting at the Impulse at the Pulse Club nightclub. He survived, but his 2 best friends died. Greg Jackson, who was just walking down the street when he was caught in the crossfire of a gunfight. And of course, I see a close friend of Jill's and mine, Congresswoman Gabby Gifford, who is here, who was speaking with her constituents in front of a grocery store in her state when she was shot and a member of her staff was killed.
What's up, Sloan?
You know, they're here, and their pain is immense. And you know,
Just trying to distract
what
from
a lot of you, hopefully many of you, don't know is you've gone through a
confrontation.
trauma.
Oh my God.
No matter how much you work to make sure others don't go through it, every time you show up at an event like this, it brings back when you got that phone call. It brings back the immediacy of what happened at that moment. So I genuinely mean it. Thank you. Thank you for having the courage to be here, the courage to continue this fight. Senator Blumenthal understands it. A lot of the folks out here understand it. But it takes real courage, so thank you. To turn pain into purpose and demand that we take the action that gives meaning to the word enough. Enough, enough, enough. Because what they want you to know, what they want you to do is not just listen. Every day in this country, 316 people are shot every single day. 106 of them die every day. Our flag was still flying at half staff for the victims of the horrific murder of 8 primarily Asian American people in Georgia, when 10 more lives were taken in a mass murder in Colorado. You probably didn't hear it, but between those 2 incidents, less than 1 week apart, there were more than 850 additional shootings. 850 that took the lives of more than 250 people and left 500 500 injured. This is an epidemic, for God's sake, and it has to stop. So I'm here to talk about two things. First, the steps we're going to take immediately. And second, the action that needs to be taken going forward to curb the epidemic of gun violence. I asked the Attorney General and his team to identify for me immediate, concrete actions I could take now without having to go through the Congress. And today I'm announcing several initial steps my administration is taking to curb this epidemic of gun violence. Much more need to be done, but the first, want to rein in the proliferation of so-called ghost guns. These are guns that are homemade, built from a kit, that include directions on how to finish the firearm. You can go buy the kit. They have no serial numbers, so when they show up at a crime scene, they can't be traced. And the buyers aren't required to pass a background check to buy the kit, to make the gun. Consequently, anyone from a criminal to a terrorist can buy this kit in as little as 30 minutes, put together a weapon.
This guy.
You know, I want to see these kits treated as firearms under the Gun Control Act, which is going to require that the seller and manufacturers make the key parts.
Thank you. I love Gary Two-Tone for that $5 super chat. They said, Gary Two-Tone loves you all. Thank you. We appreciate it. And thank you, Soy Free, for being on both platforms. Appreciate it. Thank you. And I missed someone here. What are you up to, Primetime? I seen you're in here. You working on your house still, buddy?
With serial numbers and run background checks on the buyers when they walk in to buy that package.
What's up, Crystal?
The second action we're going to take. Back in the year 2000, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms released a report on its investigations of firearms trafficking in America. The report was of pivotal value. It was an important tool for policymakers when I was in the Senate and beyond, at all levels, to stop firearms from being illegally diverted into dangerous hands. Today, with online sales and ghost guns, times and trafficking methods have changed, and we have to adjust. We also have to ask the Justice Department to release a new annual report. This report will better help policymakers address firearms trafficking as it is today.
So what he's saying is they don't want to report. They want to be able to track who buys guns, and they want it sent to the DOJ. The DOJ does not have authority over this. That's the problem. That's the issue right here. Okay? You can't make a database of people who buy guns and send it to the DOJ. That's overreach of government. It's just as simple as that.
Yesterday. The third change, we want to treat pistols modified with stabilizing braces with the seriousness they deserve. A stabilizing brace hook and a pencil essentially makes that pistol a hell.
So yeah, what he wants to do is get rid of braces and make them illegal, which as far as I understood it already are. I thought he already did this, but maybe I'm confused. But he wants to get rid of braces, so you can't buy an AK pistol, you can't buy a small 22 handgun and make it into a rifle. You can't buy an Uzi and put a brace on it. You can't buy any close quarter combat submachine gun and put a brace on it, because then it'll be illegal. That's essentially what this does. Christina Murphy with the super chat says, thank you, Jake, for all you do. Thank you, Christina, for showing up. Appreciate it. Like I said, I couldn't find your name in the blocked list. Just make sure you're on the right Twitter page. There's a page that looks just like mine that Antifa's imitating me on. So just make sure you have the right handle. Like I said, I didn't see you blocked. So thank you for showing up. Appreciate your support. But like I said, yeah, I don't know where he's going with this. It's just another dead-end road, man. Just another dead-end road. They're trying to establish what we can and cannot buy for our weapons. I mean, this is just
a hell of a lot more accurate.
It's crazy.
And a mini rifle. As a result, it's more lethal, effectively turning it into a short-barreled rifle. That's what the alleged shooter in Boulder appears to have done. I want to be clear that these modifications to firearms that make them more lethal should be subject to the National Firearms Act. The National Firearms Act requires that a potential...
Thank you, Menudo, for that gifted 1-month sub to Soy Free. Enjoy that. Another 1-month gifted sub from Menudo to Purple Potato. Thank you. Thank you very, very much, you guys.
Owner pay $200 fee and submit their name and other identifying information to the Justice Department, just as they would if they went out and purchased a silencer for a gun. Fourthly, during my campaign for president,
Trovo's in beta,
I wanted
guys.
to make it easier for states to adopt extreme risk protection order laws. They're also called red flag laws, which everybody in this lawn knows, but many people listening do not know. These laws allow...
Another 1-month gifted sub on D-Live over there. Menudo just chopping it out for us. Thank you, Menudo, for keeping us alive on that other platform. We appreciate it. Make sure you eat those subs up. Thank you, Menudo. So yeah, he's talking about red flag laws here. So basically, before he even explains it, because he tries to make it seem like it's something technical. There's nothing technical. Okay, your neighbor can basically say, I'll put on my camera. I'm serious about this one. Look, listen. This is the problem with the red flag laws, okay? And shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Ryan, one of the mods that brought this up. He said, he explained it perfectly. He said, if someone like Antifa wants to come along and say, hey, Jake is a violent, white supremacist, neo-Nazi, he doesn't, multiple people file reports that I shouldn't have a weapon, they can come over, the government can come over and seize my weapon because they said that. If the neighbor thinks I'm a hoop and holler and druggie, if you have red flag laws in your lot, they'd come over and court order junction, you go to court for that gun and not get it back until you go to court for it. So you could see the implications. Even I could call and say, hey, Ithaca down there, Mr. Froman with the AK that marches around for Black Lives Matter. Yeah, he makes me feel uncomfortable. So I'd like it if you guys would take his gun away. And they go ahead and do it. That's the kind of stuff that he's talking about that they want to instate. And they put it into this weird. He'll explain it, but the way he says it, he's trying to sound all technical and political and seem right. No, it's not right. There's nothing okay about it. It's not okay. It's not an okay law. You don't want these laws in your state. Let me tell you, or federally especially.
Or family member to petition a court in their jurisdiction and say, I want you to temporarily remove from the following people.
It is that
any
easy.
Firearm
it is that easy. Let me tell you something. So I'll tell you a story. All right. My dad, okay, was living with some crazy psycho, quote unquote, friends. Okay. That he let stay at his house. Okay. They weren't paying rent so they could get ahead. All right. One day they got in a heated argument. My dad was talking, and it went, and I was there. I saw the whole thing. I heard everything he said. Okay. It went from a talking point to yelling to screaming to both parties were throwing stuff at each other. Okay. So, we'll use his name as, we'll call him, Danny. That's not his real name, but we'll say Danny. He called the cops. All right. He said, my dad, we won't use his name, is threatening to kill me with his gun. He has an AR-15. Okay, that's all he said. Cops showed up at the house. You know what they did? They went inside. They went right inside of my dad's bedroom. They took his gun. And here's the thing. I'll admit, my dad is kind of off the chain sometime. But in this circumstance, I was there. I heard it. I saw it. Okay? There's nothing he did with his weapon. He didn't even touch it. Okay? They came in and they took it. And Oregon doesn't even have red flag laws. Okay? So, yes, it is that simple. Just want to be clear on that.
They possess because they're a danger and a crisis. They're presenting a danger to themselves and to others. And the court makes a ruling. To put this in perspective, More than half of all suicides, for example, involve the use of a firearm. But when a gun's not available, an attempt at suicide, the death rate drops precipitously.
Not
States
true.
that have red
Not
flag
true.
laws have seen
Not true.
the reduction in the number of suicides in their states. Every single month, by the way, an average of 53 women are shot and killed by an intimate partner. I wrote the Violence Against Women Act.
Bottom line, he
It's been a
voted.
constant struggle.
He wrote the Violence Against Women Act. Okay, so the bottom line is they're using these red flag laws to justify it stopping a mass shooting like what's happened recently, and it won't happen. You're not going to stop a mass shooting with a red flag law. It what it does, it gives power to people who are afraid of guns. Okay, that's what red flag laws do. It's not okay. Period. It's not okay. God, my throat is super dry right now. So honestly, guys, anything that abides our Second Amendment besides the right to bear arms, just straight up the right to bear arms, period, that being it, is unconstitutional. Let me just be clear, because they're making it harder for law-abiding citizens to own guns. They're not making it harder for criminals to own guns. Criminals already get guns off the street. And you notice how he doesn't talk about that. Like, he doesn't talk about it. Kamala won't talk about it. Nancy won't talk about it. Schumer won't talk about it. Jay Inslee won't talk about it. Governor Brown won't talk about it. We have to talk about all gun violence if we're going to talk about gun violence, not the 30 people that were killed last month due to mass shootings. Okay? Mind you, a mass shooting is anyone over 4 people, by the way. So, I think it's 4 people. So, I mean, we also need to justify what is a mass shooting. What's a mass shooting? What's a mass shooting? What, you know what I mean? It's kind of like having the abortion talk. Where do you consider life? What do you consider life? What do you consider a mass shooting? What do you consider violence? Everybody's view is different. I think we can all can come to the conclusion that the last couple weeks of gun violence is not okay. I'm not okay with it. No one I know is okay with it. No conservatives are okay with it. But making these obscure gun laws, making it harder for the gun grab for the normal people, what I don't understand what is the point of that? What are we doing? I just don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I mean, here we are, President Biden, the 46th president. He knows it all, so
Struggle to keep it moving. We know red flag laws can have significant effect in protecting women from domestic violence. And we know red flag laws can stop mass shooters before they can act out their violent plans. I'm proud, excuse the point of personal privilege we used to say in the Senate, I'm proud that the red flag law in my home state of Delaware was named after my son, Attorney General Beau Biden, our son.
Virtue signaling.
Who proposed that legislation back in 2013. I want to see a national red flag law and legislation to incentivize states to enact their own red flag laws. Today, I asked the Justice Department to publish a model red flag legislation so states can start crafting their own laws right now.
Here comes AFT. AFT's
Just like
coming.
with background checks, the vast majority of the Americans support these extreme risk protection order laws. And it's time to put these laws on the books and protect even more people. The Attorney General will have more to say about this in a moment. Additionally, we recognize that cities across the country are experiencing historic spikes in homicides, as the law enforcement can tell you. The violence is hitting black and brown communities the hardest. Homicide is the leading cause of death of black boys and men ages 15 to 34.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Joe Biden. You brought it up. He said the leading cause of death, I think he said 18 to 34, of predominantly black people is gun violence, right? Okay? So let's talk about it. How are these young men dying to gun violence? Let's leave color out of it. Let's leave color out of it. Okay? Are these legal gun owning citizens? No, nope. Because guns save more lives than they kill every year as far as legal guns go. But there is no data for illegal guns. Because when they pull them off the street, there is no serial number to link this crime to this gun. Okay, so it doesn't get tracked in the database. It's just written down as a gun violence. It gets logged just the same as, let's say Jacob Beard with his Glock. Okay, you shoot someone, they log it under your serial number that your gun's linked to you. Oh, you shot somebody with this gun linked to this person. Okay, when it's illegal, they pick you up, they take the gun, and they hold it as evidence. That's all they can do. Because there's no, they can fingerprint you all they want, but it doesn't link you to that gun. And here's the thing is 9 times out of 10 when people, commit crimes, they get rid of the gun or whatever, there is no linking that gun to them. It's just another murder and we move on. That's it. That's all it is. It's the only difference. And it's like they won't talk about how I'm sure it's 70 or 80% of these crimes being committed are with illegal guns. Listen, imagine if law-abiding citizens shot as many people as illegal criminals did. They would have already have taken our guns. They wouldn't even have allowed us to have guns. That's like the truth of it. But they continue to virtue signal and say, look, I'm trying. See, I'm a real Democrat. See what I'm doing? I'm putting legislation forth for you, the people. Okay? They're playing their part. Okay? And for some reason, it's working for Joe Biden. Just being quiet, huddling down. Oh, look at me. Oh, poor Joe Biden. I'm going to sit here with my, just give me my oatmeal. Okay? It's working for him. I don't understand how. I don't know how people voted for him. I don't know how he's still in office. I don't know how this is still continuing to work for him. I really don't. I really don't. It's crazy.
Leading cause of death.
I guarantee you, sorry I keep stopping, but I guarantee you, after he was done with this speech, they ushered him back and they were like, okay, Joe, let's get back in here. We're going to give you your ice cream now, Joe. And we're going to give you your pseudometapine. Okay, so you can go fucking relax and take the day off. We know you've had a hard day. We know that 20-minute speech really wore you out, Joe. We can see the wrinkles on your forehead, bub. Okay? So here's your little shot of Percocets and, a little concoction Percocets and Vicodin, to let you go chill out. Let your weak, nimble bones go chill out, okay? All right? Here's your oatmeal. We know you didn't get your full oatmeal serving in the morning, so here you go. Okay? This is pathetic, man. This is pathetic. And the worst part is I know damn well, I know that they rewarded him when he went back, when he got off the stage here and he went back. I know they were like, oh, Lord Biden, wow, you went through a speech without gaffing,
But there are proven strategies.
I just can't, man. I can't with this guy.
And there are programs that have demonstrated they can reduce homicides by up to 60%. In urban communities. But many of these have been badly underfunded or not funded at all of late. Gun violence in America, for those of you who think of this from an economic standpoint listening to me, estimated to cost the nation $280 billion, let me say it again, $280 billion a year. You say, how could that be, Joe?
I want to know how he remembered all these stats because he can't even remember his own freaking name on a normal day. Somehow he has all these stats. 53 women a month are killed. 200, I think he said over $1 billion a year, or 200. I don't think it's $280 billion. There's no way that's a real number. But how he's remembering these stats, I mean, dude can't even remember his freaking name on a good day.
Hospital bills.
But he's got the stats. He's got the stats down. He's got the stats down.
Costs,
don't worry.
And the loss of productivity. Not to mention the psychological damage done to the children who live in these cities, watching this happen, knowing someone it happened to. This gun violence in their neighborhood is having profound impact on our children. even if they're never involved in pulling the trigger or being the victim.
Yeah, that is a good point. Look at how far they're zoomed up on his face. You can't see anyone around him, and you can't see any of the cameras or anything. Yeah, they're doing a good job. They know what they're doing. The White House knows what they're doing.
On the other side
Yeah,
of it.
they know what they're doing. You're
For a
right.
fraction of the cost of gun violence, we can save lives, create safe and healthy communities, and build economies that work for all of us, and save billions of American dollars. In the meantime, much of it, as Senator Cicilline knows, is taxpayer money. Finally, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the key agency enforcing gun laws, hasn't had a permanent director since 2015. Today, I'm proud to nominate David Chipman to serve as the director of the AFT.
AFT.
David
AFT.
knows the AFT well. He served there for 25 years. And Vice President Harris and I believe he's the right person at this moment for this
AFT.
important
I mean,
agency.
come on. Come on.
And I've said
Come on.
before, my job, the
You
job
know-
of any president,
You know that sweet ass organization, the AFT?
is to protect the American people. Whether Congress acts or not, I'm going to use all the resources at my disposal as president to keep the American people safe from gun violence. But there's much more that Congress can do to help that effort. And they can do it right now. They've offered plenty of thoughts and prayers, members of Congress, but they passed not a single new federal law to reduce gun violence.
even the sign language person's like, do I do ATF or do I do AFT? I don't know which one to do. You got me all confused now, Joe Biden. She's looking over. I'm like,
Enough prayers. Time for some action. I believe the Senate should immediately pass 3 House-passed bills to close loopholes that allow gun purchasers to bypass the background checks. The vast majority of the American people, including gun owners, believe there should be background checks before you purchase a gun. As was noted earlier, hundreds of thousands of people have been denied guns because of the background checks. What more would have happened?
yeah,
These
exactly.
bills-
Exactly. Oh my God, this guy, dude. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's the point, Joe Biden, of the background checks. Just like you said, how you can go to a gun show with no background check and and buy a gun. Not true. Not true, buddy. Not true. Just saying.
1, require background checks for anyone purchasing a gun at a gun show or an online sale.
No,
Most people don't know it. You walk into a store and you buy a gun, you have a background check. But you go to a gun show, you can buy whatever you want and no background check. Second thing is to close what's known as the Charleston loophole. Like people here, I spent time down at that church in Charleston. What happened is someone was allowed to get the gun used to kill those innocent people at a church service. If the FBI didn't complete the background check within 3 days, there's a process. If it wasn't done in 3 days, according to the Charleston loophole, you get to buy the gun. They bought the gun and killed a hell of a lot of innocent people who invited him to.
Hey Joe. I'm gonna clue you into something here, Big Joe Biden. I'm gonna go ahead and let me. So, what about the guys that are buying guns with the scratched off serial number, Joe? Huh? Weird, I don't hear anything. Did you guys hear that? Yeah, crickets.
Pray with them. And 3, reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act, which the so-called close
The clapping is fake. The clapping is fake. Me and the mods watched this earlier. The clapping's fake. They have speakers playing people clapping, guys. I swear. I'd be willing to bet hundreds of dollars, $500, $1,000 that those are fake applause. I'm just saying.
The boyfriend
1.6 thousand downvotes. I'm just saying.
Found by a court to be an abuser and continuing threat. I held over 1,000 hours of hearings.
Yeah, right.
Women Act.
Cremando, yeah.
One thing came through.
Just tell us what you're gonna do, dude. Why meander it?
A stay-away order, an order preventing the abuser from coming in a certain distance of the person he has abused or she has abused.
I missed that 1 month sub from Menundo to Noah. Thank you, appreciate it.
The idea that they can own a weapon when they have a court order saying they are an abuser.
I know he keeps talking to the crowd, but they won't show any of them.
These are some of the best tools we have right now to prevent gun violence and save lives. But all these bills, they had support of both Democrats and Republicans in the House.
So listen, this is how you know, listen, oh man, because I don't think a lot of people know this. Okay, so I'm going to explain something to you guys that I noticed while he's doing this speech, okay? So maybe it's just me being, agnostic towards him, being rude, whatever, being mean, looking at him negatively, whatever we want to call it. But Joe Biden started this speech looking at the camera with both eyes kind of, I can understand the sun's probably pointing down at him and he probably has lights on him and, okay. So he started both speech with both eyes kind of like this, right? Kind of like this is how he had his eyes. Okay, so as you watch the speech go on, let's see, it's going to be this eye. So he starts going like this. He's got this eye closed. Okay, this eye's closing. Okay, it's closing. Okay, it's like pretty much closed. Right now, if you look at it, it's pretty much damn near closed. Okay, a lot of people think he's squinting. He's not squinting, okay? This is like he's having a stroke. This is preliminary stroke, or he's already had one. Okay? This is preliminary stroke, dude. I'm not playing. Look at his eyes. This dude's about to have a stroke on stage. They can't be having this guy up for more than 10 or 15 minutes at a time or he's going to fall over. I swear. No, he ain't reading nothing. Dude's about to have a stroke because his drugs are wearing off. You see the vein popping out on his forehead. I mean, man.
Universal background checks are supported by the vast majority of the American people. And I might add the vast majority of responsible gun owners.
Oh, man.
So let me be clear.
Elder abuse is real. Elder abuse is real.
This is a view by the American people as an American issue. And I'm willing to work with anyone to get these done.
Yeah, right.
It's long past time that we act.
Look, both eyes are back open.
Now, I know this has been a hobby horse of mine for a long time.
Hobby horse.
Got it done once. We should also ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country. For that 10 years we had it done,
another fake clap. Just saying.
The number of mass shootings actually went down.
Just saying.
Even law enforcement officials have told me and told other champions of this legislation, they sometimes feel outgunned by assault weapons with large capacity magazines.
Yep.
There's no reason someone needs a weapon of war with 100 rounds, 100 bullets.
Yeah, coming from the guys that have guns. Listen, it's real easy to talk about taking guns when you have guns. It's real easy to sit here and talk about taking guns when you have guns. Okay? This is coming from a guy that has private security. He's probably got assault weapons at his house. Okay? It's real easy to talk about taking people's weapons when you have that type of protection. It's always the rich. Yeah, right. You see how he's changed his tone too? It's gone from assault weapons or assault rifles to assault weapons. See, you always have to instill fear in people before you can take something and create change, right? So they've created the fear. They fear-mongered us, okay? Here's the fear. Now he's pitching his idea. He's pitching, okay? This is the pitch.
Bullets that can be fired from that weapon. Nobody needs that.
Nobody needs that. Well, yeah, because the police and you guys have them. So yeah, we do need them. Yeah, we do need them.
Nobody needs that. We got that done when I was a United States Senator. It wasn't easy going up against the gun lobby, but it saved lives. And we should also eliminate gun manufacturers from the immunity they receive from the Congress. You realize, again, the people here, because they're so knowledgeable on here. And
So knowledgeable. So knowledgeable.
But what people don't realize, the only industry in America, a billion-dollar industry, that can't be sued, has exempt from being sued, are gun manufacturers. Imagine how different it would be had that same exemption been available to tobacco companies who knew and lied about the danger they were causing, the cancer caused and the like. Imagine where we'd be.
What?
This is the only
What did he
outfit
just What did he just say? What did he just say? Hold on. What did he just
they were
say?
causing, the cancer caused and the like.
The
Imagine
cancer
what we'd
causing
be.
alike. The cancer causing alike. That's what he just said. The cancer causing alike. Even on the days he doesn't spoof, he's still just. I know he isn't gonna make it 4 years. You're damn right, he ain't.
This is the
You're
only
right.
outfit
You're right.
that is exempt
You're right.
from being sued.
I mean,
If I get one thing on my list, the Lord came down and said, Joe, you get one of these, give me that one. Because I tell you what, there would be a come to the Lord moment
man,
these folks
come
would
into
have
the
real
Lord.
quickly.
Come into the Lord.
But they're not. They're not. They're exempt. I know that the conversation about guns in this country can be a difficult one.
What's up, Hayes?
But
How you
even
doing,
here,
buddy?
There's much more common ground than anyone would believe. There's much more common ground. Everything that's being proposed today is totally consistent with the Second Amendment. And there's a wide consensus behind the need to take action. I know that when overwhelming majorities of Americans want to see something change that will affect their lives, and it still doesn't change, it can be demoralizing to our fellow citizens.
By the way, I see a lot of you saying COVID manufacturers get sued all the time. Gun manufacturers get sued all the time. Yeah, so they don't have immunity from this. They don't have immunity. But you know who does have immunity? The COVID-19 manufacturers of the vaccine. They told every single one of them, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, all them, they told them, no liability. If you kill 2,200 people, like they did, no liability. If you make 41,000 people sick, like they did, no big deal. So more more lies, more deceit out of the White House here, folks. Another day.
It can feel like our entire political process is broken. I know it's painful.
The Second
and
Amendment's
frustrating
just
that
an
we haven't
idea.
made the progress
Jesus. No
that we
shit.
hoped for.
No shit.
But it took 5 years to get Brady Bill passed, and it took even more years to work to pass the assault weapons ban. And it saved lives. No matter how long it takes, we're going to get these passed. We're not going to give up. We have an opportunity to fulfill the first responsibility of government, to keep our people safe. And in the process, we can show the world and show ourselves that democracy works, that we can come together and get big things done. When I look around and see such brave survivors sitting out here in the Rose Garden, public servants who devoted their lives to...
So mass debaters he's trying to call me out here. Isn't it kind of hypocritical to make fun of Joe Biden for mispronunciation when you've been saying disintegrate instead of degenerate? No, I definitely haven't been saying that. Nope, I haven't been saying that, but okay. troll somewhere else, buddy. Another chat partner.
Dealing with this.
That's not the word.
Advocates
That's not the word that I was using under those circumstances, and you know it. So
who
flip
feel
some more words,
strongly
buddy.
and are pushing every day to make the rational changes, and courageous parents and family members. I know the progress, even in this most difficult of issues, is possible. So, folks, this is just the start. We got a lot of work to do, but I know almost every one of you sitting in the garden here. None of you ever given up. We're not going to give up now. The idea that we have so many people dying every single day from gun violence
Every single day. Every single
is a
day.
blemish on our character as a nation.
Every single day.
Let me say to all of you, God bless you, but most importantly, the memory of all many of you have lost to the senseless gun violence. And now I'd like to hand it over to the Attorney General for him to speak and make some comments. And I hope I get a chance to see some of you after this.
Oh, no crowd still.
Thank you. Thank you.
No crowd still. We don't want to show the crowd. We're gonna show Kamala. See, this is socialist dictatorial rule at its finest right here. Okay, never show the crowd because there isn't any. Never show the crowd. Always show the two important leader figures. Okay, and then have your little pony show come in halfway. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Good.
Thank you, Mr. President and Madam Vice President. We stand here today not at a moment of tragedy, but in the midst of an enduring tragedy. So far this year, guns have taken the lives of an estimated 11,000 of our neighbors, friends, and fellow Americans.
11,000. You hear that? Gun violence. So that's probably over what, a 50-year, 60-year span when we started keeping track. How many people died? Let's just take a second here. Let's just, because I already know the numbers, so I don't even need to look them up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. How many people die from heart disease every year? Heart attacks, heart disease. Would you guys be surprised to know that it's 800,000 people die a year just in the United States? Would you also be surprised to know that 400,000 die every year because of cancer? Oh, okay. So 1.2 million a year. Interesting. 1.2 million a year. Weird. Huh. So we're going to talk about 11,000. We're going to talk. Okay. We're going to take the 11,000. We're going to ban assault rifles. Okay. Makes sense. So what about the 1.2 million deaths? Should we get rid of liquor? Should we get rid of salty, fatty, sugary foods? Should we get rid of fast food restaurants? Should we get rid of stress? Should we get rid of candy? What about cigarettes? Because those are the leading causes of all those that were just mentioned. Why don't we outlaw those? It's really weird, really interesting question. But we want to outlaw guns for 11,000 deaths a year, 9,000 of which are suicides. I don't even think it's 11,000 a year, I'll be honest with you. But it's very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting point where
As
we're
the
at now.
President explained,
Why don't we have a national pandemic hearing on the cancer and the heart disease? Why don't we have a meeting on cancer in our society and heart disease? Why don't we ever do that? Why isn't there ever a meeting on I think I know why. I think it's because there's money involved in it. And you know what else? I tweeted about this today, and the government knows this. They know that they've tilled the land, so many times over again that there's no nutrients left in the soil. So we can't plant in it unless we use fertilizer. And as we all know, fertilizer causes cancer, most of them, because there isn't very many organic fertilizers unless, they're spraying fish oils and fish scales and algae and stuff on their crops, which I can assure you they're not. So why don't we talk about that? Why don't we talk about how we have no nutritional value in our foods anymore? Why we can't grow nutritious food anymore? Why we've got more livestock than we do farmland now? Why we feed people more meat than we do stuff that's grown out of the earth? Why is there a war on stuff that's on the earth? Well, I know why. It's because we've overdone ourselves as humans. And instead of admitting it and looking to mitigate that situation, we're looking at smaller problems like 11,000 people that have died to gun violence. It's a very minute problem. And, there's no money in gun defense. Okay? There's no money in that. Because 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose that case. Because, someone died. Usually when you're involved in a gun case, it involves someone's dying. There's emotions running high. Kind of like the George Floyd case. Emotions are feeling these cases. So, the day that they bring up how we can't grow nutritional food in this country, how we outsource 70% of our fruits and vegetables out of state, out of country, the fact that they won't talk about this and have a meeting on this, but we'll have a huge press conference with the through the White House with the we've got the sign language lady, and we've got the attorney general, and we've got the whole pony show. You got Kamala, you got Joe out here, and we're virtue signaling, and we're sitting here, we're regurgitating the same information that we've been told over and over again. But are we really looking at the real problems? I mean, because to me, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like we're focused on the wrong problems. I don't know. Just food for thought. Just saying.
Gun deaths in our country are occurring at a staggering pace, on the order of about 100 Americans killed every day, with hundreds more wounded. I am under no illusions about how hard it is to solve the problem of gun violence, and I know that the Department of Justice alone cannot solve the problem. It is a problem that we must all work on together in a collective effort to keep guns out of the hands of criminals and save lives. But there is work for the department to do, and we intend to do it. Today, the Department of Justice is announcing several steps that we will take to keep guns out of the hands of criminals and reduce the risk of gun violence.
But we know that it doesn't take it out of the hands of criminals.
First, we will ensure that we understand and measure the problem of criminal gun trafficking in a data-driven way. Over 20 years ago, ATF undertook a gun trafficking study. It then issued a report that provided information necessary to better understand and to combat criminal trafficking networks. No such study has been conducted since that time. Accordingly, I have directed ATF to begin work on an updated study of criminal gun trafficking, one that will take into account the fact that modern guns are not simply cast or forged anymore, but can also be made of plastic, printed on a 3D printer, or sold in self-assembly kits. We will evaluate how some of our best tools, including the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network and the National Tracing Center, are keeping up with the times.
So what he just said is, we want to track you, aka. I mean, long story short, he didn't want to say it because you can't say you're going to track U.S. law-abiding citizens, but that's what those databases are. We all know it. So quit phoning.
And we will analyze our criminal cases and investigations to determine what they can show us about modern gun trafficking patterns. We expect that the lessons from this study will help agents, prosecutors, and policymakers tackle modern criminal gun trafficking enterprises. Second, we will close a regulatory loophole that has contributed to the proliferation of so-called ghost guns. Federal law requires that manufacturers mark all firearms with serial numbers so they can be traced if they are used in crimes. It also requires licensed firearms dealers to run background checks to ensure that individuals who are barred by law from purchasing firearms cannot do so. The emergence of ghost guns threatens both of these important law enforcement objectives. Currently, individuals can buy kits that contain all or almost all of the parts they need to assemble a gun. They can put a working weapon together in as little as 30 minutes. The kits are aptly called...
This is not true. This is false information. This is from the Attorney General of the United States. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Build, shoot kits. Yet because of a gap in the ATF regulations, these kits may not be considered firearms. As a result, they are being made and sold without serial numbers and sold without background checks. Within 30 days, ATF will issue a proposed rule to plug that gap and to enable law enforcement to trace crime guns and to keep guns from being sold to those who cannot lawfully possess them.
But that's the thing, is people who can't lawfully possess them, who want them, aren't going into a gun store to buy them, bro. We all know this. Like, he's regurgitating what Biden said. He's just dog and pony showing him. Like,
third, we will make clear that statutory restrictions on short-barreled rifles apply when certain stabilizing braces are added to high-powered pistols. Federal law requires the taxation and registration of all short-barreled rifles. It does so because these weapons are powerful, yet easily concealable. Currently, however, some manufacturers market and some individuals purchase certain kinds of stabilizing braces that, when attached to a pistol, effectively convert it into a short-barreled rifle, a weapon that is, in the words of the statute, quote, intended to be fired from the shoulder. Such braces make high-powered pistols more stable and accurate while still concealable.
because you can conceal an AK pistol in your backpack or your pants, right? Very, very, very few of these pistols can you conceal in your pants or whatnot. So, man, the way they present this, man, is just...
Within 60 days, ATF will issue a proposed rule that will make clear that when a device marketed as a stabilizing device effectively turns a pistol into a short-barreled rifle, it is subject to the requirements of the statute. Fourth, we will publish model red flag legislation for states. Red flag laws, as the President has explained, allow family members or law enforcement to petition for court orders.
This is directed at patriots. Listen.
Temporarily bar people in
This is directed at
accessing
patriots.
firearms if they present a danger to themselves or to others. 19 states and the District.
Jose, there is nothing going on with Antifa tonight, so. And I have been filming Antifa every night. They've been out for 6 months now.
Of Columbia
Kind of really over that, to be honest.
Within 60 days,
Every
the
single
Justice
night they've been
Department will
out.
publish model legislation that will make it easier for states that want to craft laws permitting such emergency risk orders to do so.
Emergency
Fifth,
risk order.
We will empower our communities to combat and prevent gun violence. We all recognize that although law enforcement plays an important role, gun violence is not a problem that law enforcement alone can solve. Communities are an essential partner, an asset, and a source of resources and ideas. Those who are closest to the problem are a critical part of solving the problem. To that end, the Justice Department will make available over $1 billion in funding through over a dozen grant programs that can be used to support evidence-based intervention strategies for reducing gun violence.
Crab Mondo said, yes, comrade, understood. Guns are for party members only.
Such strategies include, but are not limited to, street outreach, violence interrupters,
Thanks,
and
Panda.
hospital-based violence intervention services. I have directed all of our grant-making components to make community violence intervention and prevention a priority. Finally, none of these measures or any of the other critical law enforcement work the department does with respect to illegal guns can be effectively carried out without strong leadership. That is why the President has nominated David Shipman to be the next ATF Director. Mr. Chipman has come up through the ranks, spending 25 years in the trenches fighting illegal gun trafficking and criminal enterprises. His extensive experience as an ATF agent will prove invaluable, and I look forward to working with him. Looking out at many of you is not only a reminder of the tragic toll that gun violence takes on our communities,
I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet these people speaking, especially Joe Biden, never go out and shoot guns. Probably never been to a gun range. Probably barely picked a gun up. I think they would be surprised if they did. That's all I'm going to say.
but also
I think
of
they
the
would.
resilience and determination that it will take to make our communities safer. The Department of Justice shares your commitment and that of the President and of the Vice President to stopping the plague of gun violence and saving the lives of those we love. Thank you.
What was this? What was this? Hold on. Okay. All right. Watch what just happened. Watch what just happened. Watch what just happened.
Love.
This is definition virtue signaling.
Thank you.
Hold on.
I wasn't supposed to do that. I'd like to see all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get to work.
I gotta see it one more time. Hold on. One more time. I can't. I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm not even done with that video. I can't. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm not even gonna talk about it. Okay. Okay. So I kind of want to get the stuff that I want to talk about that's here kind of out of the way. Like that happened here or is happening here, and then we'll talk about kind of the stuff that's happening overseas, because I think that's important too. I don't really ever talk about it much. But the first thing, I want to make sure everybody can hear it, but I'm going to play this video, okay? So I would pull it up on my Instagram, but for some reason my Instagram's not letting me log in on my computer. I don't know what that's about. So I'm going to play it. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Yeah, so I'm going to test it first to make sure that I can hear it through the speakers. Hold on.
I've been in law enforcement for 10 years, and speaking to my peers.
Okay, yeah, you can kind of hear it. I'll turn it up.
In any kind of law
Hold on.
enforcement position,
Okay. So this is I'm not going to talk. It's about 8.5 minutes. It's from a police officer. I don't know which division. It's from a guy named Sean Everingham on Instagram if you want to go and watch it. But I'm gonna kind of tune out here. I want you guys to listen to what he says. It's very important. He talks about the overreach of government. He's talking about the overreach of police officers and how they became authoritarian figures. And this is a cop. This is a cop speaking. So, let me get my face out of here. You guys don't need to see that.
Officer,
We'll talk about
make this
Russia.
video. I've been in law enforcement for 10
Hold on, I'm
years.
gonna restart it.
And
All right.
I'm speaking to my peers, other fellow officers, people in any kind of law enforcement position. I've seen officers nationwide enforcing tyrannical orders against the people, and I'm hoping it's a minority of officers, but I'm not sure anymore, because every time I turn on the television, every time I look to the internet, I'm seeing people arrested or cited for going to church, for traveling on the roadways, for going surfing, opening their businesses, going to the park with their families, or doing nails out of their own house, using their own house as a place of business, and having undercover agents go there and arrest them and charge them with what? With a crime? I don't know what crime people are committing by doing nails in their own house, but we're seeing this more and more and more, and we need to start looking at ourselves as officers and thinking, is what I'm doing right? Now, I want to remind you that regardless of where you stand on the coronavirus, we don't have the authority to do those things to people just because a mayor or a governor tells you otherwise. I don't care if it's your sergeant or your chief of police. We don't get to violate people's constitutional rights because somebody in our chain of command tells us otherwise. It's not how this country works. Those are de facto arrests. You know, we're violating people's rights and taking money from them, or even worse, arresting them and depriving them of their freedom when they are exercising their constitutional rights. So let's talk about that. Let's read something right here off of the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. Among these, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their power from the consent of the governed, meaning our power and any government official's power is derived from the people. Okay? We don't hold power over our citizens.
That's right.
It's
right.
It's contradictory to everything that our country stands for. And this is what I'm seeing. First Amendment rights, telling people they can't go to church, freedom of religion. Okay? Telling people they can't protest, freedom of assembly. Fourth Amendment violations, illegal traffic stops to check for papers. What are you, the Gestapo? Is this 1930s Nazi Germany? You don't get to stop people unless you have reasonable suspicion or probable cause that they have committed a crime. And I know people that have personally been stopped saying, we want to see papers showing that you're essential.
He makes a good point.
That is not how our job works, okay? What really has been pissing me off lately is the fact that these officers that are going out here and enforcing these tyrannical orders, what they're doing is they're making my job and my safety, or they're putting my job and my safety at risk. Because what you're doing is you're widening the gap between public trust and law enforcement officers. And what that's going to do is it's going to, I mean, look what's happened to law enforcement in the last 10 years. less and less public trust, and more often than not, that is a result of isolated incidents that get blown out of proportion. Well, they're not isolated anymore. They're happening every single day. And the thing that I want you guys to realize is that our power that we hold as law enforcement officers, it's nothing more than a facade. It's a badge and a gun. And you don't realize if you
listen to what he just said. Hold on.
Things can be stripped from people.
Listen to what he says.
Our power that we hold as law enforcement officers, it's nothing more than a facade. It's a badge and a gun.
Right.
And people, you don't realize, if you haven't lived in anarchy, if you haven't seen combat, things can be stripped from people in a heartbeat. And that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that these actions are going to wake a sleeping giant, i.e. the American people. Okay? They are going to be put in a position where they won't have their rights trampled anymore.
Yep.
And us as law enforcement officers, we'll have our ability to enforce the law stripped from us in about 10 minutes.
Yep.
Okay? I think what is going to happen if this continues is we're going to see bloodshed in the streets.
There it is.
I don't want to see bloodshed in the streets. On either side of this coin.
That's
I don't want to see fellow officers get injured or killed, and I certainly don't want to see citizens get injured or killed. And I promise you, most of you out there doing these tyrannical acts against our citizens, you're not ready for combat. You're not mentally or physically ready for combat in the first place.
That's right.
I promise you, you don't want to go through that. And I hope I never have to go through that again.
Where we're getting, guys.
You know, you don't get to just say, well, I'm doing this because I was told to do so, or I'm following orders, or I need to keep this job. Guess what? I need to keep this job more than anybody. I have 3 young children. I have 2 houses. Like, I have the same sob story that the rest of you guys have. But my personal choices and my living arrangements, no matter what they are, don't allow me to trample on people's rights.
That's right. That's right.
And I don't understand why that concept is so hard for people to understand. Listen, you need to stand up for what's right. You need to, if you're part of a department or an agency that is asking people or asking their officers or their deputies to impose on people's rights and infringe on their freedoms, you need to step up and say, no, that's not me. That's not what I signed up for, and that's going against my oath. And if that costs you your job, so be it.
That's right.
At least you'll be able to look at yourself in the mirror at night.
Yep. I'm going to post this later. I'm going to rip it up and post it later.
Luckily for me, I come from a department that I feel like my chain of command shares my view, but I don't care what department you're part of or what your chain of command thinks. You don't get to trample on people's liberty. And so, you know, as a special operations veteran, I've fought on the streets of Iraq for under the U.S. government's guise of freedom. And I'm telling you what, the American people are going to be, you are going to wake a sleeping giant, and they are going to fight 10 times harder for their freedom on their soil than anything you've ever seen before. And if that's something you're willing to face, then keep trampling on people's rights. But I promise you, the American spirit of defiance is going to rise again, and it's going to be a big problem for our country.
Yep.
So I'll leave you with this, something that I learned as an E-nothing in the Army. No matter what situation you're put in, if you look inside yourself and ask yourself one question, am I doing the right thing? You ask yourself that, you know the answer.
That's right.
And no amount of money or no order or law or anything
this
should
dude's
be
my
able
hero, baby,
to make you go against doing the right thing. So I'm imploring officers to look inside themselves and ask themselves, is this what I want to be doing to my citizens? And I think the answer is clear. And if we all stand up together, guess what? It'll be a
Can't fire all of you.
No factor. Because people in law enforcement will be united like we should be.
All right.
Well,
All right? That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about, guys. That's what I'm talking about. My cat knocked my screen over, of course. This guy. So that's what I'm talking about, all right? That's what I've been talking about for months, all right? First people, called me out for it, back the blue, blah, 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 blah. Well, now you can understand why. You have cops that are agreeing with me, man. They all need to stand up and do their job. That's it. Plain and period. That's all I'm going to say about it. Okay? So that was a good little clip. What I'll do is it's a 10-minute clip, so I'll probably rip it up later and put it on YouTube. I think it's a good video. And I would fight that cop in the zombie apocalypse, I bet. So, yeah. Okay. So, here's the other spectrum. I know you guys have seen this. I've seen it multiple times as well. But it just shows like the opposite end of the spectrum, okay? There's extremism on all fronts. There's politicians that are extremists. And I just want to remind people of a couple clips, okay? There's a couple clips that I saw. This was one of them. Like the officer clip. It's a good representation of how a lot of officers feel right now. Not all of them. It's how a lot of them feel right now. So if any of those officers are listening, any of them or whatever, man, like my hat's off to you guys. Okay. Keep doing your job. Keep doing you. Keep being the right guy. Keep doing the right thing, man. But then you have the other spectrum, okay? And I know you guys have seen this clip, but I'm going to play it because I want to remind everybody of what's to come, okay? I want to remind everybody of how these politicians told them to go out and seek Trump supporters and hurt them and violate their rights, okay? How BLM is not just Black Lives Matter, okay? It's fear and intimidation too, okay? And this is what we're seeing in our country, okay? You've got one side trying to make peace. You have their little extremist groups that don't really mean anything. But then you have the other side of the spectrum that's egging it on. Okay? Just remember this clip.
So this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you. Enough of the shenanigans. Enough is enough. And for those of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay. I love y'all. Bye-bye.
Okay, you got that one. You got this. Okay.
Floyd's murderer is not sentenced. If George Floyd's murder, if George Floyd's murderer is not sentenced, just know that all hell is gonna break loose. Don't be surprised when buildings are on fire. Just saying.
Just saying. She's just saying. Okay? She's just saying. Okay, one more time.
If George Floyd's murderer is not sentenced, just know that all hell is gonna break loose. Don't be surprised when buildings are on fire. Just saying.
Just saying. Or there's this one, this one's good too. By the way, if you can't tell what's going on here, yeah, we all know you're BLM, Jose. We already know who you are, bro. Already got your whole rap sheet, homie. So in case you guys can't figure out what's going on here, okay? In case you can't decipher, they're allowing people to pass that honk for George Floyd, but nobody else. Okay? Just gonna throw it out there. All I gotta say to these people is wait until Derek Chauvin is acquitted on all charges because you guys messed up and you charged him with the wrong crime. What are you gonna do then, huh, BLM?
We forced it today. Turn your ass around, sir. Turn your ass around. It goes this way too. The street goes both ways. Oh, you got it. No, we gotta let you off your horn. Okay, then that's and now you.
Don't be mad at us. Don't be mad at us. Honk your horn. Honk your horn. Yes, but honk your horn.
You can honk or you can turn around right here, sir. Listen to her. Listen to her.
Imagine blocking traffic because you don't get your way. Imagine blocking traffic. This is where I start slowly creeping. Slowly creeping. Just inch by inch by inch by inch. Just pushing the bounds. Just a little bit here, you know what I mean? A little bit there, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Until they finally just move.
Let your pride get in your way. The key
Shit, we gonna let her wait. We gonna let her wait. She gonna wait.
You got white privilege? You got the white privilege? That's what you got? You got the white privilege? You can't even...
White privilege is fake. It doesn't exist. Yeah, I said it. White privilege is fake. It doesn't exist. Get your racist shit out of here. Your racist innuendos need to stop, BLM. Your racist innuendos, your racist comments, your stereotypical comments against Trump supporters and people on the right needs to stop, man.
Honk your horn? You're shady. You're a shady. Stop. Ain't going nowhere. All you gotta do is honk your horn, lady. Honk your horn, lady.
That's all you gotta do is honk your horn.
How hard was that? You too.
Let's watch it one more time. Because you know this one's too good to be true. In case you guys didn't catch it.
Honk your horn.
We forced it today. Turn your ass around, sir. Turn your ass around. It goes this way too. The street goes both ways.
Goes both ways.
No, we gotta let you off your horn. Okay, then that's
And now you. Don't be mad at us. Don't be mad at us. Honk your horn. Honk your horn. Yes, but honk your horn.
Playing stupid games. Playing stupid games, they're going to find out stupid prizes, man. You do this in the wrong city, people will run you over. And they have every right to. Block traffic because you want people to honk their horn.
You can turn around right here, sir. Listen to her. Listen to her.
Well, you're not going to get through. He did not.
Don't let your pride get in your way. The key
Do it for me. Sarah, do it. Honk your horn.
We gonna let her wait.
Dad, white privilege. You got white privilege? You got the white privilege? That's what you got? You got the white privilege? You can't even honk your horn? You're shady. You're a shady. Nope. Ain't going nowhere. All you gotta do is honk your horn, lady. Honk your horn, lady. How hard was that? You too.
Oh, so, there's that, drama, because that's all BLM is. So, I was scrolling through, and I noticed, because I kind of want to get off the American topics, because it's all we really talk about over here. So I'm scrolling through the news, and I noticed that, Russia is now stacking up against the Ukrainian government. Okay. Hold on one second here. Is this it? I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. So the Russian Federation is lining up against the Ukrainian border. They've actually crossed the Ukrainian border. And basically from what I was reading, let's see here. I think this is the one. Pretty sure this is it. Pretty sure this is the article that I was reading. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay. So this was written by Independent News, and it was today at 8:40. Okay, it says the 7-year conflict between Russia and Ukraine appears to be returning to the boil point as peace talks break down. Heavy weaponry is built up, and explosions are documented all along the 250-mile contact line. The surge is already taken. Here's the key point that I was trying to make too. The surge has already taken dozens of lives. Nobody's talking about this either. It's really interesting. On the Ukrainian side, at least 27, mostly young soldiers, have been killed this year. The number of deaths on the Russian backside are somewhat hazier, but the confirmed death of a 5-year-old boy in a village near the front line has understandably raised stakes and emotions. The tragedy has been a major focus for Russian propaganda foot soldiers, which the state media channeling local claims without evidence that a Ukrainian drone was to blame. The same coverage warned Kyiv was preparing for a victorious offensive to punish the long-suffering Donbass region, with President Vladimir Zelensky supposedly responding to domestic political chaos and low poll ratings. I don't know. I don't think that's true. I think that's propaganda from Russia. And it even says Russian propaganda foot soldiers. Things look different from a Ukrainian point of view. Mr. Zelensky himself has accused Russia of, quote-unquote, flexing its muscles, amassing a military force on the Ukraine borders, and stepping up in support of anti-Kyiv forces in the Donbass region. More excitable local commentators talk of Moscow hatching invasion plans, which is what got my attention, because they're literally invading Ukraine, and nobody's really even talking about it. And I'll show you a couple video clips that'll kind of back that up. Because when, Russian propaganda is not really going to tell, their full extent of their plans, Russia has not yet mobilized the kind of forces needed in the worst-case invasion past heavily fortified positions. On another hand, it certainly has amassed the means to do serious damage. So I don't know if they're trying to send a message or what, but if we go over to here, this is a guy, he lives in a neighboring village on the Ukraine and Russian border, okay? And he says, so from what I gather from what he says, the Ukrainian soldiers have gone in and have kind of taken over his village and kind of left it a mess. And I'm assuming there was fights in there because there's buildings blown up, like their whole village is flattened. So this is right on the border in Ukraine, and this is an interview done by some international news company. I'm not sure, but so I don't know if you saw that they have to walk 7 kilometers to go get their food and water on a bi-weekly basis, is what he was saying.
Собаки отдадим, блин.
Що в'їзда ж нема, ні скора не приїжджає, ні... Раніше нам же, хоч магазина не було, так машина возила продукти. А зараз же нічого, нема ніякого в'їзду, не виїзду. Це якщо в больницю, ну просимо солдатів, вони допомагають.
So it says only in the 2018 the Ukrainian military settled there.
Я здесь родился. Это моя родина. Я здесь родился. Я вон дом построил, чтобы жить на пенсии хорошо. Чтобы дети, внуки сюда приезжали, понимаете, нет? Мы здесь жили, Мне ничего не надо. Я ни на что не жалуюсь. У меня все есть. Дайте только жить нам, и все.
Holy smokes, JJ just dropped in with a $50 super chat. He said, "Thank you, Jake and Mods. Nice work." Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Seriously, JJ, thank you. Okay, and there was another I was trying to find hold on one second. Let me pop this up over here. Hold on one sec. I'm trying to find this video that I had of hold on. There's tanks being trucked in. I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah, right here. Okay, so this is
Пиздец, жизнь как спичка, и не видели ничего, ведь встречи, стычки, помню.
I don't know what's up with why there's crazy music with it, but okay, so at the beginning it's flashing, but these are tanks passing through the Russian Federation towards the border of where this conflict's taking place. Note how many tanks are on these rail carts. Love you, JJ. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, brother. Why isn't this loading now? What in the world?
Кто не знает.
Yeah, it's literally. I mean, I can't even count them. There's amphibious vehicles, tanks, all kinds of rail equipment, like all kinds of stuff, guys. Pretty crazy. Wouldn't be surprised if this dude was hunted down and killed, like, honestly. So yeah, that kind of reestablishes that. Hold on one second. I already read this. Okay, so this kind of gives I think this kind of talks about like why they're there, and obviously it's because of resources. From what I gathered, they're okay. So the Ukrainian government has cut off waterways that the Russian people need to get fresh drinking water and move their resources and cool their infrastructure and everything else. So from what I gathered, the Ukrainians are cutting the Russian government off, and that's why Russia is invading. And I think it has more to do with probably the clashes in transporting the oil would be my guess. But from what I gather, the main water stream, the main waterway is being blocked off from the Russian Federation, and Russia's pissed about it. And so this says right here, and this was on April 1st, so 7 days, this is a week ago. While the world is focused on OPEC news and Easter preparations, the Ukrainian crisis is heating up, and there is a real threat of military confrontation involving Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus. So apparently Belarus is involved in this. Currently, the Ukrainian military is fighting Moscow-backed separatists in the Donbass region. At the same time, heavy clashes with the Russian-backed forces in and around Shaim have been reported. International pressure has been building on Russia to force a direct ceasefire, but no moves have been made. In recent weeks, analysts warn of possible full-scale military confrontation, which is probably more than inevitable, as they consider the military moves in the region as provocations by Moscow. Same time, most confrontations were localized with no real regional impact yet. The military stalemate, however, could well be coming to an end. A growing amount of reports have emerged showing not only large-scale Russian military movements towards the Ukrainian border, but also Moscow's only regional supporter, Belarus. I think it's Belarus. Sorry, excuse me. Has deployed new troops to the Ukrainian border. As Julian Ropchi, a German Bild reporter, said on Wednesday, large amounts of Belarus military hardware, including BTR-80 armored vehicles and military trucks, are moved to the border region. Kyiv has already reacted to the growing threat precipitation by calling up reinforcements. Ruslan Komchak, Ukraine's commander-in-chief, stated to the press that Russia is building up armed forces near Ukraine's border and a threat to the country's security. So here it is. The thing is so I'm hearing two different things. Like, I'm hearing they're on the border, but from what I've gathered, from what I understand, they're already in Ukraine, which is really interesting why they're being allowed to do that. So you guys are dorks in the chat. Gary's in the house. Gary Two-Tone with $2.99 super chat. Thank you very much. There's a dog with sparkling in his eyes saying "my hero." Interesting. Okay, so a possible full-scale operation will not only impact regional security, but also put up the European oil and gas sector under pressure, while maritime logistics could also be hampered. With Europe's gas storage currently very low and dependency on Russian supplies very high, a crisis here could have a major impact. Gas prices will soon be under pressure. Excuse me. If the situation escalates, with storage sites at 37% capacity compared to 60% capacity at the same time as last year. So like I said, the European Union is stressing out because we do get a lot of oil from Russia, specifically the European region. With storage sites or 74% at the start of this year, inventories are becoming critical. Analysis currently expect levels to fall as low as 16% of total capacity. To count on LNG supplies would be foolish if Asian demand continues to grow. So they're exporting a lot of oil to other countries. The stranglehold that Russia has over European gas markets may soon become a major geopolitical market factor once again. If Ukraine crisis erupts, potentially blocking or closing gas and oil pipelines in the region, a new energy crisis would follow closely behind. It appears that Putin's strategists have outmaneuvered Western powers. The weak response from both Brussels and Washington to Russian power moves in recent years appears to have emboldened Putin. Sanctions have been largely ineffective while military options seem to be out of question. Russian gas politics could now be a major pivotal factor in stopping the EU NATO support if a renewed Ukraine conflict were to break out. So this kind of shows where major routes of the gas pipelines connecting natural gas fields in Western Siberia to export markets in the Western Europe run via Ukraine. So these are all the entry points of gas, the gas lines, and the exit points, I'm guessing, to where they feed them. And a lot of them are running, as you can see, the major gas lines are running through. This is one right here. This is one right here. And this is one right here. These are the major pipelines. Okay, these are just little tributary pipelines. But these are the major lines right here. Yeah, see, pipelines and then the entry point for the gas fields, I'm guessing. Oh, so basically they're transportation sectors. So that's what Russia's worried about. And they have to run everything through Ukraine. So basically they're just shutting it down. Okay. So, yeah. So tensions are building there. Lots of troops on the border. I saw a couple photographs of troops lined up. Also, I think it was in this. Yeah, like they're building trenches here. Like I said, people have died. Something very interesting, though, is... Which, I mean, I guess it's not that interesting, but Vladimir Zelensky, actually, this is him. This is Vladimir Zelensky. And it's very interesting. They're all wearing masks, which I thought was very interesting. Obviously, besides these two. But also, he's on the front line. This is the front line of the war right now. He's got his bulletproof vest and the helmet on. You don't see this from very many leaders going on the front lines of their battlefield, which I thought was very interesting. So it also says here that Russia has deployed ballistic missiles to the country's southern south border, which is where we were talking about where their entry points for all their gas lines is in the southern border of Russia, because that's where Ukraine is at. Says 5 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed this week alone. What else was I going to read from this? But yeah, just him being down here is just kind of interesting. So Vladimir's over here basically bullying them around. He warned that escalation and conflict would be the beginning of the end for Ukraine, describing the scenario for the ex-Soviet country as not a shot in the leg, but in the face. So just short-ended threats. Of course, Joe Biden's simping for Ukraine because that's our ally. Okay, so yeah, that was all I kind of had. Basically, there's people dying. Nobody's really talking about it in the news, which I find very, very, very interesting. This would be something I think that people would want to talk about, but they're not. So yeah, there's the Russian-Ukraine problem. And then also, a lot of people aren't talking about this, but okay, so the reason why China is having these border problems with Taiwan is because Trump in 2018 leased a weapons agreement to the Taiwanese government. Okay, So he leased them F-16s, like $330 million worth of equipment. Okay, and China found out about it, of course, because all trades between nations is documented, and they're freaking out. So here's kind of the timeline, and there's huge tensions. There's already been fighting between Taiwan and China. Small little guerrilla warfare type scenarios. Okay, so Mao Zedong's communists take power in Beijing in October 1949 after defeating Chiang Kai-shek's, the KMT nationalists, in the Civil War. The KMT fled to the island of Taiwan and formed their own government in Taipei in December, cutting off contacts with mainland China. This was in 1949. Okay? In 1950, Taiwan becomes an ally of the United States, which is at war with Communist China. God, I can't speak right now. Which is at war with Communist China in Korea. Okay? It deploys a fleet in the Taiwan Strait between the two to protect its ally from possible attack from the mainland. Okay, that's where we got involved. I don't know what this is about. It's Al Jazeera, so I can't play it anyways. So in October 71, Beijing takes over China's seat at the United Nations, previously held by Taipei. Okay. In 79, the U.S. establishes diplomatic relations with China, but also commits to assisting the defense of Taiwan. It backs the policy of one China, with Beijing as a legitimate government, but establishes trade and military ties with Taipei. Basically, reestablishing that, that's our ally. So they reestablish diplomatic relations with China, but also commits to assisting the defense of Taiwan. So make sure that they know they're our ally, but we want to release tensions with China. In late 87, Taiwan residents are for the first time permitted to visit China, allowing families to reunite and leading a boom in trade. In 1991, Taiwan lifts emergency rule, unilaterally ending a state of war with China. The first direct talks between the two sides are held in Singapore 2 years later. Okay, so this kind of officially ends tensions and war with China and Taiwan at the time. In 95, Beijing suspends talks in a protest at a visit by Taiwanese President Lee Teng-hui in the U.S. In 96, China tests missiles off Taiwan. Tests missiles off Taiwan to deter voters in the island's first democratic presidential election. So kind of a push of force, like a show of muscle, if you will. In the 2000 election, the KMT loses power in Taiwan for the first time, which is the original government, Mei Zedong, or I think is how you say her name, loses power in Taiwan for the first time, and over the next 5 years, trade links between the two sides improve, first by sea and then via air. In March 2005, Beijing adopts a law which makes succession by Taiwan illegal at the risk of military action. So they're part of China. If they secede from them, there'll be war, basically. In April, there's the first meeting since 1949 of the leaders of the KMT and the Communist Party of China. In 2008, Taiwan and China resume high-level talks after the KMT's Mei Ying-jeou is elected president on a Beijing-friendly platform, meaning she steps for China so that they can kind of ease tensions again. But in 2010, they sign a sweeping economic cooperation framework agreement. In 2014, they hold the first government-to-government talks since separation, which would be 14 years. In 2015, 6 years ago, the leaders of both sides meet in Singapore, shaking hands and waving enthusiastically to a huge press throng, but refraining from any joint statement. Meaning like basically as a press circus. In January 2016, opposition candidate Tsai Ing-wen from the traditional pro-independence Democratic Party, Progressive Party, wins elections, become Taiwan's first female president. Okay, that's her right here. Okay. In her victory speech, Tsai said that the results show and excuse me, I'm probably saying some of these names wrong. I really apologize. I'm really not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to read it. Said the results show that democracy is ingrained in the Taiwanese people and that she will strive to maintain stability with China. We will work towards maintaining the status quo for peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait in order to bring the greatest benefits and well-being in the Taiwanese people. The day of her inauguration in May, China cautions that peace would be, quote-unquote, impossible if she makes any moves to formally break away. In June, China splits all communications with Taiwan. So this is 5 months later. China suspends all communications with Taiwan after the island's new government fails to acknowledge the concept that there is only, quote-unquote, one China. So this is in December. This is 11 months later. President-elect Donald Trump breaks with decades of U.S. diplomatic policy by speaking directly by telephone to Tsai Ing-wen, okay, her. He's trying to talk to her, okay, which hasn't been done. Again, another thing that he did, nobody wants to give him credit for. Okay, in 2017, and here's where we're at now. This is where I know it's a long read. This is where we're at now, and this is why we've gotten to where we are. Okay, in 2017, and I was wrong. I thought it was 350 million. It's 1.4 billion. Trump administration approves 1.4 billion worth of arms sales to Taiwan, prompting anger from Beijing. Rightfully so, as U.S. and China are natural enemies, and we are allies of Taiwan, and Taiwan's trying to separate and have their own independence, their own military. Okay, in March 2018, the U.S. adopts a law reinforcing ties with Taiwan, again infuriating China. Okay, provoking another response from them. Then you got. 6 months later, in September, the U.S. State Department approves the sale to Taiwan of spare parts for F-16 fighter jets and other military aircraft. Okay, so this was the 330 million, drawing a warning from China that the move jeopardized cooperation between Beijing and Washington. Okay, so basically, China's upset that the U.S. is backing them. China's upset at Taiwan because the U.S. is backing them. U.S. is sending them arms. The U.S. is sending them fighter jets and all these military things to kind of set up a military presence and have their own government. And China sees this, and that is why they're in the Taiwan Strait right now. There's 2 aircraft carriers that are there currently. They've got battleships. They've got an entire arsenal to protect these cargo ships and whatnot. And tensions are very high. So I thought it was very important that we talk about it. And then also, hold on one second, because I want to talk about, I think it's probably just as important is the Myanmar thing, because nobody's talking about it. Oh yeah, and Biden signed 50 executive orders, by the way, since he's been in office. Just a little fun fact for everybody tonight. Okay. Looking for this updated article that I read. Whoa. Okay. So here we go again. Axios. Okay. This is what I wanted to get at. The death toll in Myanmar continued to mount Saturday as security forces. So this was 5 days ago. Saturday. The death toll in Myanmar continued to mount Saturday as security forces opened fire on anti-coup protesters amid the military's month-long crackdown on dissent. Here's the thing. So the first week this went down, there was 90 people that were killed. Since then, there's been 460 people that have been killed. 46 of them are children. Okay? This is since February 1. So we're talking 2 months. 2 months. 550 people, 46 children. Another 2,750 have been detained or sentenced, meaning jailed for standing up for their rights. 100 people were killed last Saturday in the bloodiest day since the coup started. Security forces killed at least 2 people, injured 7 others in protest. And this is the other thing. So now the coronavirus is getting added to this. COVID-19 is getting added to this because, of course, you have people hurt that are dying, that are bleeding out, that have to go see a doctor. But yet they go to the doctors and they're like, well, we have to be careful because of COVID. And, these are open wounds, and there's only a certain amount of people they can take in at a time. And so people are like dying. I was reading this article. People are like dying on the doorsteps of the hospital. It's getting that bad. So, like I said, this is another major thing, and I think people need to focus more on it. 550 people have died in 2 months. You got 46 of them are children. 2,750 have been detained or sentenced. So this isn't just detained. This is sentenced too, meaning they've been convicted of a crime for standing up against their government. It's wild. It's really, really wild. I also noticed that Antifa stopped backing them once they realized that the people that are standing up against them are both political parties, right and left, is standing up against the government. So I noticed they kind of backed off that. They raised, I think it was like $4 or $5 grand, and they kind of backed off the rhetoric of supporting them. Really interesting. But yeah, I don't want to bore you guys too much. I just kind of wanted to get that off. That was kind of what I saw in the world news, and nobody's really talking about it. The major news networks aren't talking about it. Nobody's bringing it up. And I'd be bringing you guys the news wherever it be. So, oh yeah, I want to keep this up too. Hold on 1 second. So that's kind of my show tonight. That's kind of all I had for you. I like to keep it about keep it about the news, keep it about what's current events, what's going on in our country. I think I'm gonna close it out with a little bit of chat Q&A, a little bit of chatter, and oh shit, there's a video that's gonna come out for Tyson James tomorrow too.
Only pay for what.
I missed a few things here. Dirty Sanchez, thanks for the $5 super chat. Smell my finger. Oh my god. Oh my god, you guys are ridiculous. Gary with another $10 super chat, thank you. JJ with another $55 super chat. Bye, Jake. In your family dinner. Oh, I see what you're saying. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, JJ. Super big supporter. JJ's giving us over $100 in donations tonight, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. My family appreciates you, and never goes to waste, you guys, ever. I'm telling you, I don't want to give up too much. I don't want to get anyone excited. Antifa. But we got something real big next week, guys. It'll be middle of the week. I'm not gonna say what day, where we're gonna meet, what we're doing, but it's gonna be big. It's gonna be game changing. Okay. And that's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to say too much, but I'm telling you guys, I've been working on something big, and we're gonna unveil it next week, baby. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good stuff. I think you guys are really gonna like it. And it's gonna be a way to draw the community in, which I know a lot of people have been trying to do. Oh, I'm gonna take the X tag off of D Live as well. We'll go to chill mode here. Oops. So yeah, that X tag's taken off. Should be good there. Sitting here reading here. Yeah, thanks, JJ. Seriously, everybody in the chat, give them firm handshakes and AK-47s, flags, Liberty Bells all through the chat. Let's go. Thanks, Spawny, for being here on both platforms. And Newsome, thank you for being on both platforms. All the other mods, thank you very much too. I'm not excluding you guys. What's up, Seattle Jeeper? Ninja Tubin, thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate it. It's awesome. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Awesome, thank you. Hayes, thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, I heard Trovo's kind of I was reading it kind of has a little junky kind of glitchy beta work that needs done on it, but overall I think it's going to be a good platform. I like it cuz it's kind of like Twitch, it has the same kind of donation system as Twitch. So once they work out the bugs, it'll be a good platform. We're going to keep it running. I know we don't have a huge, following or anything over there, but Nato Bane says USS John S. McCain is in the Taiwan Strait right now. See? That's why we got ships over there, is because of what I just explained. So there's global conflict going on right now, guys, for sure. This is Spawny. You're just all over the place, aren't you? Jareth, how you doing, buddy? So China definitely meddled in the election? Yeah, I mean... China's been weakening the USA. Yeah, you ain't right. So hold on. Someone is bringing up a really good point. Let me find it real quick. I found something earlier. Here it is. Okay, so this is something that I just want to say it real quick. So Biden's done 50, Trump did 36, Obama did 33, and Bush did 9. That is the stats right now. Biden's definitely done more in his first 60 days than any of the other presidents, that's for sure. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm pretty sure it's bad. I smell veggie chips. What are you talking about, Hayes? Menundo with a Ninja Guinea. Thank you, Menundo. Appreciate it. Sliding in. Letting her presence be known. What's up, Jester1330? Wilzo just resubscribed for 2 months. Thank you, Wilzo. Yes, the mods do rock. You are right, JJ. I know a lot of people get upset, but the mods keep our channel safe. You just have to watch what you say. Wilzo sent a diamond. Thank you, Wilzo, with another ice cream cone. Hayes sent a Ninja Guinea. Thank you, Hayes. Oh, yeah, guys. Wilzo with another ice cream. Love watching you, Jake. Where's Primetime Patriot been? Is he okay? Yes, we're all just we're working on a plan to keep us going and whatnot. As you can see, the Antifa events have kind of settled down. I really do believe that Antifa and BLM is kind of preparing for the Chauvin trial to end. And so me and Josh, Villain, all these guys are kind of laying back. We're kind of just waiting to see what happens. We're just trying not to push content either, guys. I'm with Pride. I'm with Prime Time when he told me the same thing that I was thinking. There's no point in pushing content. You know what I mean? There's no point in pushing a stream if we don't need to. We're not out here to push money. We're out here to provide the facts, the truth, the news, that a lot of people aren't providing. And, we just both agreed that, fewer, more important streams, more focused streams are more important to us than doing, a stream every night, because if I do it every night, you're going to get a stream a week that's like video games, and you're going to stream a week that's like me just sitting here smoking weed, just chilling. You guys don't want to see that. That's boring. So don't worry about him. He's good. He checked into the stream earlier. He's good. I talk to him every day. Primetime's one of my good buddies, and he's perfectly fine. Don't you worry about him. How you doing, Infinite? Brent? Wilza with another ice cream. Thank you, buddy. Hayes with a diamond. Hayes with an ice cream. Let's go. Hayes, Wilza with a lemon. Biden doesn't even know what he's signing. He's a puppet. Thanks, guys. I appreciate, seriously, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. You guys are so generous. Honestly, so generous. It's going to go off either way. Yeah, you ain't lying. Hayes with a 1 month gifted sub. Thank you, Hayes. Appreciate you, buddy. Always keeping us going over there on D Live, keeping it real. So yeah, I mean, I really there isn't much going on. As far other than that, I do find it interesting that the news isn't. The news isn't talking about the Russian conflict. They're not talking about the Myanmar conflict, which I think Myanmar is probably the worst one. Patriot Intel Network, thank you for the diamond. 2 diamonds, thank you. I don't think there's a 3rd diamond, thank you, brother. I don't think that or let me say this. I think there's a reason why the news isn't reporting any of these. Because you would realize that there's more going on in the world than just what's in our little country right now, and they don't want that. They want to keep us focused on, Black Lives Matter, Antifa destroying stuff, corrupt senators. They don't want to focus on what's going on in the rest of the world, because I think they'd be astonished, and it wouldn't be real good for the people here if they realized it. But I mean, education is important, so who knows? I don't know why they're not reporting it, but regardless, I think Myanmar is probably the worst one. And then you've got the Ukraine thing. I don't think is as big as the Taiwan and the Chinese border issue. I think that's probably going to pop off first before Russia and Ukraine. But the Myanmar thing's going on right now. People are dying, and nobody's talking about it. So very interesting to think about. Nicole, thank you for the ice cream. Patreon Intel Network, thank you for the 5 ice creams. 8 lemons, 2 more ice creams. Soy Free, thanks for the 4 ice creams. Hayes with the gifted 1 month. Appreciate it. Jenny Warman with the 1 diamond. Let's go. Thank you, guys. Awesome. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be doing anything tomorrow. I'll just warn you guys right now. I might do a stream Saturday night. Just kind of depends on how Friday goes. I'm definitely not doing anything Sunday. So nothing Sunday. I'm going to take a day off Sunday. And I'm probably, well, I don't want to say I'm going to take Monday off too, but Sunday for sure. There might be a stream Saturday night. Tomorrow I'm not so sure. Just kind of the way things have been going. So I don't want to promise anything, but I'm going to try and stick to the week, being super, on top of being, every night having something to focus on. But yeah, there's not a whole lot going on right now, so it's kind of hard to provide good feeds and good content to you. So just kind of relaxing. That's kind of what me and Josh have been doing. We've kind of been planning. We're gonna go to Minneapolis and kind of see what goes on with that. So that'll be a decent stream out there. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll be undercover. I don't know what we're gonna do out there. But yeah, I mean, just kind of keep on trucking on. I mean, we don't want to create more than we don't want to create news. Let's just say that. Jesus, Hayes. This guy. You're crazy, Hayes. You're wild, boy. So yeah, be looking forward to next week, though. We got good stuff in the mix. We're going to do another cleanup next week. Probably Tuesday. We're going to go down and do the other part of the waterfront. Dig in some trash, play around some more. Make sure that waterfront stays nice and clean. And then Wednesday, we'll have something going on. Probably Thursday too. So we got a full week next week. But yeah, I think I'm going to end it. I don't really have anything else to talk about, and I don't want to just sit here and procure donations off you guys like Antifa, because that's not what I'm about. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. There's quite a bit of you that tuned in tonight for my my rambling. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a good Friday night. I'm probably not going to be live tomorrow. Just telling you right now. Infinite Godican with a $5 super chat. He's sliding in here real quick. Oops, got to throw down some of my monthly support. And yes, Myanmar is not good, but supposedly their military only wants a non-Dominion election. Huh. Interesting how that works out. Connor, thanks for the follow. God, I can't even get out of here. You guys are going crazy. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for everything you guys do for my community, my family. Thank you for sticking around. I mean, I really do appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of our group. And I consider each and every one of you family. And we're going to win this battle together, guys. It ain't going to be today or tomorrow or the next week, the next month, next year. But, we got 3 years of this to deal with. So we need to stick together, stick tight. And I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to slide out of here. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Probably most likely be Saturday night. So I'll see you guys then. Have a good night. Go spend some time with your family. I'm going to go kiss my wife goodnight. And hop into bed myself. And maybe treat myself to a water since my mouth is drier than the desert. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you go show love to the other streamers too. And I will catch you guys on the next one, all right? Take it easy.
I got it! Hold up the Starbucks, need me a cup of mud. 2/3 milk, better make it coconut. A pinch of cinnamon, better yet, make it a dust. I need a 1/4 inch of foam, you better put it in my cup. That's perfect. I'm white and love guns and y'all nervous. Look, I don't even know where I'm from. I think I'm German. You a black Hebrew and all of a sudden you got purpose. Man, I'd rather bow to God. It's the skin that y'all worship. I do white stuff. I eat lots of vegetables and plan for my future.